The grand chamber of the Galactic Council was always filled with voices. Hundreds of alien races gathered there, their leaders sitting in shining seats arranged in a perfect circle. Each seat carried the emblem of its planet. Some seats were large and made of stone, others floated in mid-air, glowing with strange lights. But one seat had always remained empty at the far side of the room. Under a small flickering light was a simple black chair. No one spoke about it, no one looked at it. It was as if that chair didn't exist. The nameplate on it read, Earth. For over 200 years, no human had come to claim it. New members of the council often asked about the empty seat. They were always told the same thing. Forget about it. Earth is gone. But deep inside, no one truly believed it. On this day, a new ambassador named Varric sat among the council members. His people had only recently joined the Great Council. He was young, curious, and bold. Unlike others, he noticed the empty seat immediately. He leaned toward a neighboring ambassador, a thick-skinned alien with tiny black eyes. "Whose seat is that?" Varric asked. The ambassador shifted uncomfortably and whispered, "Leave it. It belongs to Earth, a dead world." Varric frowned. "Then why keep the seat here?" The alien didn't answer. He only looked away, a flicker of fear in his eyes. Varric noticed it. After the meeting ended, Varric stayed behind in the chamber, pretending to study a data screen. He watched how others left quickly, never glancing at the black chair. It was strange. In a place filled with power and pride, why would an empty seat frighten anyone? His curiosity grew stronger. That night, inside his quarters, Varric connected to the Galactic Archive. The Council kept records of every planet, every war, every species that had ever joined or fought against them. He searched for Earth. The result came back. Access restricted. High clearance required. Varric gritted his teeth. Why would information about a dead world be restricted? He knew it was dangerous, but he hacked into the older, forgotten records. Most new ambassadors never dared to question the old council laws. But Varric was different. After several hours, an old report appeared on his screen. It was titled Operation Terra Silence. The file was over 2 centuries old. He opened it. Report spoke of a council fleet sent to Earth, back when humans were seen as a small, rising species. They believed humans would either bow down or be crushed, but what followed was strange. The report mentioned how the entire fleet vanished near Earth's system. Not a single ship returned. The last transmission from the fleet commander was a short message. We were wrong. They were never weak. They were never primitive. We were blind. Varric's heartbeat quickened. He scrolled further. The Council had declared Earth as a forbidden system. No ship was allowed near it. All records were to be sealed. The reason was never fully written. Only one sentence remained at the end. Never disturb them. The price is too high. Varric leaned back in his chair, cold sweat on his skin. What kind of species could make the mighty council fearful? Why keep there? Seat empty for 2 centuries? Why not remove it? Questions filled his mind. He thought about how, during today's meeting, the old councilors avoided speaking about Earth. Even the strongest, proudest leaders had looked away from that black chair. It wasn't ignorance. It was fear. And fear always had a reason. As Varric stared at his screen, his room lights flickered for a brief moment. A cold wind brushed against his neck. Though his chamber was sealed, he turned around quickly, but no one was there. Then his console beeped. A new message appeared on the screen. It wasn't from the archives. It wasn't even from the council. Network. It simply read, "We see you." Varric's blood froze. Who sent this? No one should have known he was accessing restricted files. His console screen shut off by itself. The room lights returned to normal. Silence filled the air, but Varric understood one thing very clearly now. Earth wasn't dead, and they were watching. Asterisk. Varric couldn't sleep that night. The message on his console kept repeating in his mind. "We see you." Who had sent it? Was it a glitch? A trick from another ambassador? Or was it them? The humans. He knew he couldn't ignore it. The old record spoke of a warning left by humanity, but the file was incomplete. It had been wiped out of the main archive. Varric needed answers. He couldn't ask the other council members. They would either lie or turn against him. There was only one way. At the heart of the Galactic archives lay a forgotten ancient database known as the Vault of Silence. It was offline for centuries. Rumors claimed it stored old council mistakes, war crimes, and hidden threats. No one went there. Even mentioning it was forbidden. But Varric didn't care. Before dawn, he left his quarters, moving through empty halls. The council's grand station orbited a bright blue star, its outer decks silent at night. Security drones floated by without noticing him. He reached the sealed chamber doors of the vault. He placed his palm on the scanner. Access denied. Varric smiled to himself. He had expected that. From inside his coat, he pulled a stolen clearance chip he had taken from an old storage room. It was risky, but he had no choice. The scanner turned green. The doors hissed open. Inside, the air was cold and heavy. Tall data towers stood in silence, covered in dust and darkness. Ancient records floated as shimmering cubes of light. Varric walked between them until he found one labeled Earth Directive 001. He reached for it. Sudden sound behind him made him freeze. A soft, metallic scraping. He spun around. Nothing. Varric grabbed the data cube and activated it. A projection appeared, flickering, showing the face of an old council leader from centuries ago. His expression was pale, his voice shaking as he spoke. "To any who find this, leave Earth alone. Do not provoke them. Do not test them. They are not what they appear to be." Varric's eyes widened. The recording continued. "When we first encountered the humans, we thought they were fragile, divided, unworthy of joining the council. So we attacked. But what we found was not a weak species, but a sleeping giant. They fought with fury, strategy, and weapons we could not understand. They vanished entire fleets. And when we tried to negotiate, they sent one final message." Varric's heart raced as the old leader read the human message aloud. "When we return, we will not ask. We will not forgive. We will not forget. The galaxy belongs to those who earn it, and we have already begun." The projection faded. Varric stood in the silence, his mind spinning. The humans hadn't been defeated. They had chosen to leave, and promised to return one day. No one in the council wanted to remember it. That's why the seat was left empty, not out of honor, but out of terror. Varric placed the cube back. As he turned to leave, a voice spoke from the shadows. "Curious one, aren't you?" Varric's blood turned cold. A figure stepped forward. It wasn't a council guard, nor a drone. It wore dark armor, face hidden under a hood. "You should not be here," the figure said calmly. Varric forced himself to speak. "Who are you?" The figure didn't answer. Instead, it raised a hand, showing a small metallic token, the old emblem of Earth. The same emblem engraved on the empty chair in the council chamber. "They are coming," the figure said. Varric swallowed hard. "The humans? Soon." And just like that, the figure disappeared into the darkness. Varric ran back to his quarters, locking the doors behind him. His hands shook as he tried to process everything. The warning was real. The threat was real. And no one in the council had the courage to face it. The empty chair was no accident. It was a mark. A reminder of a mistake too big to erase. Varek knew what would happen next. He could feel it in his bones. Humanity was coming back. And this time, they wouldn't be asking for a seat. Asterisk. After that night, Varek couldn't sit still. He tried to focus on council matters. Endless debates about trade routes and border disputes. But his mind kept returning to the vault, to that warning, and to the dark figure that spoke of their return. He had to see it with his own eyes. Officially, no ships were allowed near Earth's solar system. It was marked as a no-entry zone. The council claimed it was unstable space. But Varek no longer believed their lies. Late into the cycle, Varek contacted an old friend, Kale, a skilled pilot who worked in the outer patrol fleets. "I need a favor," Varek said over a private comm line. "This isn't about smuggling." "Spices again, is it?" Kale chuckled. "No, I need a drone ship sent near Sol System. Just one. No crew. No logs." There was silence. "You're mad, Varek. That space is cursed." "Please," Varek whispered. "I have to know." Kale sighed. "You'll owe me a year's worth of fuel." "Deal." Within an hour, an unmarked, long-range scout drone slipped away from the council station. It moved fast, cutting through the dark void. Toward a system most considered a graveyard dot as it neared the Sol system, Varek watched the live feed in his quarters. He could barely breathe. The drone's sensors picked up strange readings. Energy spikes near the moon. Unnatural gravity shifts. Nothing made sense. On the screen, the black surface of space stretched endlessly. The burnt remains of old warships floated near distant asteroids. Ancient wrecks from battles the Council had erased from history. No life detected, the drone's AI reported. Then something strange happened. A massive shadow passed in front of a distant star. At first, the AI didn't register it. It was too large, too cold, and didn't match any known ship design. Varek leaned closer. "Zoom in," he ordered. The drone's visual sensors focused on the object, and there it was. A ship. No, something. More. Black as the void itself, its surface shimmered like liquid metal. It hung silently near the dark side of the moon, blending perfectly with space. No markings. No ID signal. But deep inside, Varek knew what it was. A human ship, massive. Silent. Waiting. His stomach twisted. This wasn't a ghost story. It was real. The drone tried to scan it. Error. It tried to send a message back. Signal interference. Then, suddenly, a message appeared on the drone's screen. "We warned you." The feed turned to static. "Connection lost," the AI announced. Varek stared at the black screen, his throat dry, his hands trembling. He wasn't sure if it was fear or something else, a strange mixture of terror and awe. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then his personal console beeped. A message. Not from the Council network. Not even from within. The station. Unknown source. Varek hesitated, then opened it. One sentence appeared. "We are closer than you think." No name. No trace. No reply option. He felt the room grow colder. In the distance. Alarm sounded faintly. A minor emergency on the far side of the station. Varek barely noticed. His eyes stayed on that message. The humans were not just coming back. They were already here, somewhere in the shadows, watching, listening. The Council had spent centuries pretending the danger wasn't real, leading that empty chair in silent fear. But now, the game was ending. Varek knew the Council would soon find out what it truly meant to ignore a warning. And whatever happened next, the galaxy would remember it for eternity. Asterisk. The next day, the Council chamber felt heavier than usual. Conversations were short. and the room's air systems seemed colder. Even the senior ambassadors, species known for their pride and arrogance, spoke with lowered voices. Something unseen had shifted. Varric sat in silence, his eyes fixed on the empty black chair at the far end of the chamber. It seemed darker. Today, as if the shadows clung to it, then came the emergency summons. A private meeting. Only the highest-ranking council members were called. Varric was surprised to find his name included. He wasn't supposed to be there, He went anyway. Inside, a secure chamber beneath the council floor, 7 ancient leaders waited, each one older than the stars they ruled. Wrinkled faces, scarred scales, glowing eyes, their expressions grim, no greetings. No introductions. An old counselor named Elder Thren, with skin like cracked stone, spoke first. Ambassador Varric. What have you done? Varric stayed calm. I sent a drone to Sol System. A sharp breath passed through the room. You fool, hissed a blue-skinned ambassador. You've stirred the storm we buried. Varric clenched his fists. You've all known. The truth, the warnings, the stories. And you left the galaxy blind. Why? Elder Thren looked at him with tired eyes. Because survival demands silence. Then, for the first time in centuries, the council revealed the truth. They told Varric of the Great War. 200 years ago, the council sought to dominate Earth. Back then, humans were growing fast. Too fast. Their science, their weapons, their ability to adapt terrified the older races. The council sent its largest fleet to crush them, but no one returned. Only a single, shattered escape pod drifted back. The survivor inside was broken, his hair turned white, eyes wide with madness. He spoke a single sentence before he died. We never had a chance. Varric listened as they spoke of what humans did. Ships melted in the void. Gravity turned against fleets. Council admirals begged for surrender, but no reply came. The humans didn't invade, didn't boast, didn't demand. They simply vanished. But before leaving, they sent one message to the council. This galaxy is yours. For now, since that day, the council left Earth alone. Declared the system cursed. No one dared approach it. And the black chair in the council chamber remained, a reminder and a warning. We left the seat empty so we wouldn't forget, Elder. Thren said softly. But we always hoped they were gone for good. Varric spoke in a low voice. They're not gone. I saw their ship. They sent me a message. Another ambassador trembled. They've returned. Elder Thren sighed. Then it's too late. But Varric wasn't finished. Why are they so powerful? How did they defeat you? What did you see? The old counselors exchanged uneasy looks. Finally, one answered. It wasn't just weapons or numbers. It was their will. Humans were different. In battle, they fought as if death meant nothing. Their ships moved like ghosts. And their technology, it defied the laws of physics we knew. He leaned forward, voice shaking. We saw things no species should see. Weapons that turned space itself against us. Creatures of metal and flame. A force that devoured entire battle groups in moments. Varric felt a chill run down his spine. And then they disappeared. Left no trace. No worlds conquered. No demands. Only silence. The chamber fell quiet. Varric's thoughts raced. Why return now? After 2 centuries. What do they want? Then the chamber lights flickered. A single console beeped. Incoming broadcast. Source. Unknown. The counselors stared at each other. Elder Thren hesitated. Ben opened the message. A hologram filled the room. A tall human figure, face hidden behind. A dark visor. His voice was calm, steady, cold. We left the galaxy in your hands once. You betrayed it. Now we take it back. The hologram vanished. A heavy silence followed. Varek stood up slowly, his voice quiet but firm. The reckoning has begun. And deep inside, he knew nothing would ever be the same again. Asterisk. The return, approx. 800 words. For the next 3 cycles, the Galactic Council tried to act like nothing had happened. They buried the message. They blamed it on an unknown hacker, a trick from a rebellious world. Speeches were made about peace and unity, but no one believed them. Not anymore. Something in the air had changed. Trade stations along the outer routes began to report strange shadows in deep space. Mining colonies went silent. Patrol ships vanished from their posts without a trace. The council called it coincidence, but Ambassador Varek knew better. He sat alone in his quarters, staring at the star map. Tiny red marks blinked where council outposts used to be. He counted them. 9.9 gone in less than a week. No wreckage. No distress calls. No survivors. Then came the 10th. A merchant freighter, limping back from the edge of uncharted space, arrived at a border station. Its crew refused to speak, their faces pale, their hands trembling. The ship's logs were scrambled, corrupted, but one short, shaky recording remained. Varek sat in the council's emergency room as they played it, a shaky view of space. The merchant ship's captain whispered, "There's something out there. Huge, black. It moves like it's alive. It spoke to us." The image shook as a voice came through, cold and clear. "Your time is over." The recording cut out, the chamber filled with whispers. Fear thick in the air. "It's them," one ambassador muttered. "The humans," another breathed. Elder Thren, his face grim, spoke the words no one wanted to hear. "They've returned." Before anyone could speak, alarms blared across the station. Unidentified vessels entering system perimeter. Varek's blood ran cold. He ran to the main observation deck with the others. And there, above the council station, hung the Singo. Impossible. Ships. Dozens of them. Anything the galaxy had ever seen. They were enormous, made of black metal that seemed to drink the starlight. Their shapes were strange. No familiar curves, no markings, no visible engines. They floated like giants, silent and still. Council ships moved to intercept, but the humans didn't fire. Not yet. A single transmission arrived. Source: human command. Vessel. The message appeared on every screen, every console, every communicator. "We left our seat empty because none of you were worthy to stand beside us. Now we return to claim what was promised." A ripple of panic spread. Council ships charged weapons. Defense grids powered up. Varek stood frozen, staring at the monstrous fleet. He knew war was pointless. The humans had already won. One by one, the council ships began to disappear. Not explode, simply vanish. Swallowed by patches of darkness that opened and closed like living wounds in space. The humans weren't attacking like before. They were hunting. Elder Thren's voice broke the silence. "Send a message. Ask for peace." An ambassador laughed bitterly. "You think they'll listen now?" Another screen flickered to life. A human face appeared. Pale skin, dark eyes, a calm expression. No helmet, no threats, no demands. Just a quiet voice. "You should have remembered." And then the feed went dark. Across the council station, lights dimmed. Power grids flickered. Fear turned to chaos. Varek gripped the console. He understood now. The humans never left because they were weak. They left because they didn't need the galaxy. And no, they were taking it anyway. Asterisk. The Galactic Council was falling apart. Messages from outer colonies turned to static. Patrol fleets reported contact with unknown forces, and then were never heard from again. Trade stations went dark. Entire systems vanished from long-range sensors. The galaxy, once ruled by proud empires and ancient species, was being swallowed piece by piece, and no one could stop it. Inside the Grand Council chamber, what remained? Of the leadership gathered. The proud voices of alien commanders, once loud and arrogant, now spoke in fearful whispers. The empty black chair sat in its place. Only now. It didn't feel empty. Ambassador Varric stood alone in the center of the room, his face pale, his eyes hollow. He'd seen the reports, watched the skies darken with those impossible ships. He'd heard the last screams of worlds that vanished in silence. And yet, the humans never spoke of peace. No demands, no negotiations. Only one word appeared on every shattered screen: reckoning. The ancient counselor, Elder Thren, spoke softly. Perhaps we beg for mercy. Varric turned toward him. They warned us centuries ago. We left their seat empty, pretending it was out of tradition. But it was fear. Now it's too late. Another ambassador, shaking with terror, asked, "What do they want? What are they after?" Before anyone could answer, a deep hum filled. The air. The chamber's walls flickered. Light bent strangely, like the room itself was being pulled into a void. Council guards drew weapons, though it would do no good. And then, in the center of the chamber, a figure appeared. A human. Tall, dressed in dark armor. His face uncovered, his eyes cold as the dead of space. His very presence made the air heavy, as if gravity itself bowed to him. No ship had docked. No signal had warned of his arrival. He had simply appeared. The chamber fell deathly silent. The human looked at no one. His gaze landed on the empty black chair, and he walked toward it. Not a single counselor spoke. Not a weapon was raised. The human reached the chair, turned it to face the chamber, and sat down. At that moment, every screen in the station came to life. Human faces appeared, calm, silent. An army without fear, without anger. Not conquerors, but judges. The human in the chair spoke. 2 centuries ago, we left you your stars, your petty thrones, and your lies. You betrayed your own people. You enslaved weaker worlds. You declared yourselves masters. He paused. And you forgot us. No one dared respond. Now the galaxy belongs to those who can keep it. He raised one hand. Across the chamber's great windows, the sky outside changed. Dozens, no, hundreds of black ships appeared from the darkness, their surfaces rippling like liquid obsidian. No engines, no weapons visible. And yet, every counselor felt their power. The human spoke his final words. This is not war. This is correction. He tapped a small device on the chair's arm. One by one, council stations across the galaxy flickered and vanished from existence. Not explosions, no debris. Simply gone, as if plucked from reality. Varric stood motionless. He wasn't sure if he was the last witness or the first prisoner. The human looked at him, a flicker of something in his eyes. Not hatred, but pity. You could have chosen differently. And then the chamber itself began to fade. Walls turned to mist. Lights dimmed. Voices fell silent. The last thing Varric saw was the black chair, finally occupied. And the galaxy, once proud and untouchable, learning the terrible price of forgetting its darkest mistake. Long after the last council station fell, and the empires of old vanished from memory, the galaxy drifted in an eerie, unnatural peace. Trade routes that once buzzed with traffic now lay empty. Planets abandoned. Great fleets, once symbols of power, floated dead in forgotten orbits. Only one place still stood, the council throne world, now surrounded by an endless sea of black ships. No life entered, no signal left. And yet, it was not empty. In the grand chamber, The black chair remained occupied. The lone human, his armor aged but unbroken, sat in silence. No speeches, no threats. He simply watched. A new kind of order had fallen over the galaxy, not built on laws or treaties, but on silent fear. The scattered survivors of old civilizations whispered of the Watcher, the one who held court alone, with a fleet that moved like shadows and eyes that saw everything. No rebellion rose, no alliances formed, because every time they tried, they vanished. Some claimed the humans had left again, their work finished. Others believed they still watched from the void, keeping the stars in check, but none knew for certain. Ambassador Varric was one of the few who survived. Old now, his body frail, he lived in a hidden outpost at the edge of the galaxy. His mind often drifted to those final moments in the council chamber, the figure on the black chair, the vanishing fleets, the last words spoken to him. You could have chosen differently, and sometimes, when Varric stared into the night sky, he saw them, black shapes moving between stars, flickers of cold light where no ship should be. One evening, a signal reached his old, dust-covered console. It bore no origin, no encryption. Just a single sentence. The seat is still occupied. Varric's breath slowed. He knew what it meant. The humans hadn't left. They would never leave, because it wasn't just about revenge. It wasn't about war. It was about control. A galaxy ruled not by politics, but by invisible chains. By a single, silent throne. Varric wrote down the message in his old journal. He wanted someone, someday, to know the truth. But even as he finished, the shadows at the edge of his room seemed to flicker. The lights dimmed. A figure appeared, tall, armored, faceless. Not one of the crude assassins of the old days. Not a soldier. A reminder. The voice was soft, ancient, patient. There will be no more warnings. And then Varric's world turned to darkness. No alarm sounded. No battle broke out. Just silence. And far above, in the heart of the abandoned council, throne world, the black chair remained. Occupied. Watching. Waiting. A throne never meant to be empty again. Asterisk.